Every single night, your brain quietly performs surgery on your own memories, and you never remember consenting to any of it. What if the strange, chaotic dreams you barely remember each morning aren't random noise at all? What if they're actually your brain running a hidden repair and rewiring program, one so essential that skipping it for even a few nights starts to break you down? Let's set the rules first. This isn't dream interpretation, and it isn't mysticism about hidden meanings. This is hard sleep science, built on brain scans, sleep labs, and decades of controlled research. Every claim in this video comes from documented studies on real sleeping brains. So if dreams aren't random, what are they actually doing back there? And why does your brain bother at all? Let's find out. Start with what's actually happening inside your skull while you sleep. You'd assume your brain goes quiet at night, powering down like a screen going dark. It doesn't. During REM sleep, the stage where most vivid dreaming happens, your brain lights up almost as intensely as when you're wide awake. Your eyes dart rapidly beneath closed lids. Your heart rate shifts. Meanwhile, your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for logic, judgment, and impulse control, quietly powers down. That's the part of you that normally says, "Wait, this doesn't make sense." Without it fully online, there's nothing left to stop a dream where you're flying, or being chased down a hallway that never ends, or having a full conversation with someone who died years ago. Your brain isn't broken during a dream. It's simply running without its usual sensor. This cycle isn't constant throughout the night either. Sleep moves through distinct stages: light sleep, deep slow-wave sleep, and REM, looping through the cycle again and again until morning. Early in the night, deep slow-wave sleep dominates, the stage most associated with physically restoring the body. As the night wears on, the balance shifts, and REM periods stretch longer and longer, which is exactly why your most vivid, most memorable dreams tend to happen in the final stretch before you wake up, right when your alarm has the cruelest possible timing. So why does the brain bother lighting up this intensely while you're completely unconscious? The first clue comes from memory. Sleep researcher Robert Stickgold has spent decades studying what actually happens to your memories overnight, and his research shows something remarkable. While you sleep, your brain actively replays fragments of your day, strengthening the connections tied to what matters, and quietly letting weaker, less useful details fade. It's not passive storage, it's active editing. Your brain is deciding, hour by hour while you're unconscious, what deserves to become a permanent part of you and what gets swept away. That pop quiz you studied for, that awkward conversation you keep replaying. Both are being sorted and filed while you dream, whether you like the sorting or not. Now stack a second layer onto this, because memory isn't the only thing being processed overnight. Your emotions are getting worked on too, and the evidence here is genuinely striking. Sleep scientist Matthew Walker and his research team found that REM sleep appears to strip the emotional sting off difficult memories while keeping the memory itself intact. In their studies, the amygdala, your brain's threat detection alarm system, showed measurably reduced reactivity to emotionally charged experiences after a night of REM sleep, compared to going without it. In other words, dreaming may function like overnight therapy, replaying the hard moments of your day in a safer, dreamlike simulation, so that by morning you remember what happened, but the emotional edge has been quietly filed down. Skip that process for even one night, and difficult memories can stay sharper, rawer, and harder to shake the next day. There's a third piece to this puzzle too, and it comes from research on mood and emotional processing across the sleep cycle. Psychologist Rosalind Cartwright's work on dreaming and depression found that people going through emotional distress often show shifts in dream content and structure that track closely with how their mood improves, or fails to improve, over time. Her research suggests dreaming isn't just decoration layered on top of sleep. It may be part of how your mind actively works through unresolved emotional material, night after night, whether or not you ever consciously remember doing it. And there's a fourth function hiding in here too, one that sounds almost too good to be real. In a striking 2026 study, researchers played subtle sound cues to sleeping participants during REM, gently nudging their dreams toward unsolved puzzles those participants had struggled with earlier in the day. An overwhelming majority of participants ended up dreaming about the exact puzzle they'd been cued toward. And the next morning, those same participants solved the puzzles at a noticeably higher rate than people who hadn't received the cue at all. Somehow, the strange, unsupervised logic of a dream state was quietly doing something a wide-awake, focused brain struggled to do alone. Push this idea even further and you run into something even stranger. Lucid dreaming. The rare state where a sleeping brain becomes aware it's dreaming while the dream is still happening. In a lucid dream, part of the prefrontal cortex flickers back online, even though the rest of the brain is still deep in REM, creating an odd hybrid state, half unconscious, half self-aware. Researchers studying this state have begun exploring whether it can be deliberately used as a kind of controlled rehearsal space, letting people practice facing recurring nightmares, anxiety triggers, or difficult memories inside a dream they know isn't real, without the same emotional risk that comes from confronting those things while fully awake. The results so far are promising but still early, which only makes the underlying machinery more remarkable. Your brain appears capable of watching itself dream, and occasionally, of steering the dream while it happens. So here's where the data forces a reveal. This entire nightly process runs on a strict internal schedule. Deep in the brainstem, a set of inhibitory neurons acts like a locked gate, holding the dream-generating machinery shut until your body reaches exactly the right stage of sleep. Roughly every 90 minutes, that gate opens, REM sleep kicks in, and the dreaming machinery switches on, growing longer and more intense as the night goes on, right up until you wake. This isn't chaos. It's a precisely timed biological program, repeating itself on schedule, every single night of your life, whether you remember any of it or not. Interrupt that schedule, cut a night short, and the brain doesn't simply skip the missed step. On many nights that follow, it tries to make up for lost REM time, pushing more of it into the sleep that comes after, almost as if the maintenance program refuses to be skipped entirely. So what's the real answer here? Are dreams meaningless static, or are they doing something essential? The twist is this. Dreams aren't random garbage your brain discards, and they're not mystical messages either. They're maintenance. Memory sorting, emotional repair, and creative problem solving, all running simultaneously, in a state where your usual filters are switched off, letting your brain make connections it would never risk while you're awake and self-conscious. That's exactly why dreams feel bizarre. The strangeness isn't a malfunction. It's the sound of your brain working without its normal restraints. Think about what that means for a rough night's sleep. It's not simply that you feel tired the next day. It's that the memory sorting didn't finish. The emotional editing got cut short. The overnight problem-solving never got its 90-minute window to run. Chronic sleep loss doesn't just leave you groggy. It leaves unresolved, unprocessed material sitting there, night after night, quietly stacking up. Researchers studying sleep-deprived populations have repeatedly found the same pattern. Memories stay jumbled and poorly sorted, emotional reactivity creeps upward, and the amygdala's alarm system stays stuck closer to a hair-trigger state. All consequences of a maintenance program that simply never got to run. There's something almost tender about all this once you sit with it. Every single night, completely unsupervised, your own brain sifts through the wreckage and the wonder of your day, decides what's worth keeping, softens what hurt, and quietly tests out solutions to problems you couldn't crack while awake, all without asking for your input or your permission. You don't get a vote in which memories get strengthened. You don't get a vote in which emotional edges get filed down. And yet, morning after morning, you wake up a slightly different, slightly more sordid version of yourself than the one who fell asleep the night before. You walked into this video assuming dreams were just strange, forgettable static your brain produces by accident. The truth is far more remarkable. Every single night, without asking your permission, your brain edits your memories, softens your emotional wounds, and quietly works through problems you couldn't solve while awake. So the next time you wake up from a dream that made absolutely no sense, ask yourself the question we started with. Was that really nonsense? Or was it your brain, working exactly as it's supposed to, just with the lights turned down and no one watching?